We go through the weekend, we're also going to be keeping our eyes on Fred as it eventually makes its way closer to the Gulf of Mexico. You can see there as of this morning, west-northwest movement, 10 miles an hour. It's slowed down just a little bit, but it's still very unorganized. It's still just a depression. A lot of those storms are displaced from where the center is, which is generally in here, but it has just remained super weak after it got torn apart from the mountains of the Dominican Republic a couple of days ago. So far, everything is going as planned. Notice the center kind of jumping around here. That's not terribly uncommon when you have a really weak system like this. So here is the track of this thing. You can see continuing to head northwest today and kind of west-northwest, but it'll get a little bit more northwesterly movement by tonight and tomorrow morning, and then up through Key West and southern Florida throughout Saturday. So tropical storm conditions are likely in South Florida tomorrow, and then it will continue to move up the west coast of Florida there towards Fort Myers by Sunday morning, and then off the Tampa coast as we go into Sunday afternoon, eventually making landfall. It still looks like anywhere from parts of Alabama there over towards Apalachicola, towards the Big Bend. So landfall right now, the center of the cone is closer to Panama City and just towards the east of Panama City, but generally it'll be somewhere in there late Sunday night into Monday morning before sunrise, more than likely as a tropical storm. So models have really backed off on intensifying this thing too much, but it looks like it will intensify some more than likely once it gets into the Gulf. Still well to the east of New Orleans and South Mississippi, which means our impacts would be pretty much non-existent from this system, as it will be more heavily weighted on the east side. So a lot of the peninsula is going to get stormy weather as we go throughout really the entire weekend. There'll be some rain around most of Florida. Still got some wind shear around it this morning thanks to that upper level low. It still looks like that upper level low will weaken some. That will decrease the wind shear as this thing moves up to the north. It'll be running into lower shear. Some warm waters, that's why we think it'll organize some, but it's just so unorganized right now. It's got a long ways to go, so that strengthening process should be somewhat of a gradual process over the next 3 days or so. We're also watching some other things out in the tropic. This is Invest 95. It's way on out there, but it is pretty close to becoming a tropical depression. May have a tropical depression today or going through the weekend as this heads west really fast. It's almost moving too fast at this point, 20 miles an hour. If it could slow down a bit, it would probably have a better chance of wrapping up, but that'll continue to head off towards the west, towards the Lesser Antilles. It'll be somewhere in there as we go into the weekend, and it will have a pretty good shot. Notice in red there, meaning likely going to become a tropical depression, maybe even tropical storm Grace. Forecast models looking at this long term, they look like they eventually curve this thing to the north, whatever it may be, thanks to this ridge weakening. But beyond this forecast right here, it looks like this ridge would have the potential to strengthen again. And if it did strengthen again, it would have the opportunity to maybe turn this thing back into the U.S. So it's still way too early to say what this thing eventually ends up doing. But the overall pattern does show that the United States will need to keep an eye on that in the long term. And that would be more like a week to maybe 8 to 9 days away from now. So we'll watch it for you, but right now no tropical impacts to southeast Louisiana. We're just staying in the 90s, and we'll have some rain around.